for another exciting Saturday. It's 5 o'clock, and you know what time it is. It's about that time. It's Legal Standpoint with Michael J. Todd, man.
How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing all right.
Everything going good?
Everything's good, man.
All right. Well, we started a little bit before 5, but I appreciate
No,
that.
we started at 5.
At 5?
At 5. When I say it's 5, it's 5.
Oh, in your world, it's 5.
That's it. That's all I need to know. I paid for this mic. Wait a
You know
minute.
what?
You paid for this mic.
I did pay for the mic.
Wait a minute. Hold on. With 458, I paid for the last 2 minutes. So yeah, that's
Well,
it.
don't worry about it.
Well, I don't
Don't worry
disqualify me though, man.
You know what? Disqualification is a word for the day, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Okay.
So how you been doing,
Man, I've been all right. I've been all right.
How was Valentine's Day, man?
Valentine's Day was cool. Man.
You had a good time?
It was a good time.
All
Good
right.
time.
The
Good
wife
time.
and I, I sent flowers to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I sent flowers to my daughter. And then I sent flowers to my new granddaughter. And so she actually appreciated the flowers. I have a picture and a little video where she was like looking at the flowers in amazement and was kind of smiling and touching them. And it just made me just real googly inside.
Man, I ain't never seen that side of you before, man. But then again, I never been a baby like that. That's all good.
So my little grandbaby, Nalani Todd.
Lalani Todd.
Nawusa.
Nawusa. Okay, got it. All right, got it.
Yeah.
So what else is going on?
Hey, man, everything's going on, man. I can't believe the amount of legal cases that have been involved that have national import all across the country, man. Just all types of stuff, man. And we're going to talk about these different cases and things of that nature. We want to make sure that people kind of give us, if you have any questions about the cases, I'm going to kind of go through some of them, give some commentary of what I saw.
Okay.
And then if anybody has any questions as it relates to what the cases mean, how they've been going, things of that nature, be sure to send that in as it relates to if you're on Facebook or any of our other platforms, or you can call in.
Call in.
At
okay.
214-556.
I'm going to write it down just in case I want to call in. I have my phone right here.
Okay. 214-556-6239.
62.
So if you have any questions or whatever, be sure to call in because, hey, we've got all types of cases. Ed, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Maybe a week and a half, whatever. The Supreme Court entertained the big disqualification. We said disqualification earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, we
just
did.
a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
that's a buzzword for the day.
Buzzword.
Disqualification. Right. Big disqualification case.
Can you say disqualification, boys and girls?
I can say it.
You can say it?
Yeah, I can say it.
All right.
I can say it.
Disqualification.
Can you say it?
Disqualification.
Oh, man, that card.
That card to come out of me all the time, man.
Card cowboy.
Card cowboy.
Hey, well, we know y'all covered disqualification.
Counselor, that was good. For the folks in Dallas, they went, man.
Well, come on, I'm a DISD boy.
Man. You thought of that one just right up, or did you have that one ready when you came in?
No, I just thought.
Oh, that was good.
But guess what?
That was good.
Guess what? We all in the same boat. Man.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. After the show's over, we gonna talk. But what you got, man?
So, about a week and a half ago, Supreme Court entertains and hears a case dealing with the Trump disqualification. Now, this case was dealing with Trump being an insurrectionist. He has been determined by certain people. I mean, in my mind, he's an insurrectionist. And so under the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, there is a provision it says, which is Article, I think, Section 3, which basically says that if an individual has ever taken an oath to support the United States Constitution and then is involved in any type of insurrection type conduct, that person would be disqualified from being able to hold office.
There's that word again, disqualified.
Disqualification, yeah. And so the 14th Amendment, of course, was passed after the Civil War. And what was happening is that you had all these people that were, the rebels, the Southerners, the people who had fought against the Union. And by passing the 14th Amendment, including Section 3, which has this disqualification clause, they were saying that those individuals that have taken up arms against the United States would be disqualified from being able to participate or hold office in the United States government, which is something I can understand. I mean, you wouldn't want somebody that's an insurrectionist, somebody that's been against you, to now be the person that's calling the shots as it relates to how the government is going to conduct itself in the future. So we had this disqualification clause.
And you know what? If I recall, which I do recall correctly, one of the people that was disqualified was the vice president of the so-called Confederate States of America.
Oh, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
Now, notice I said so-called. You know, I'm not giving them no kind of respect.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So, and it applied to a lot of different people who were involved in the Civil War, lost cause, and things of that nature. So, of course, we have that backdrop of when the amendment was passed. So what we have now, though, is that, you know, of course, January 6th did occur, and with respect to that, individuals have said that, hey, look, we have a situation where Trump has been an insurrectionist. He has taken an oath to defend the Constitution. And as a result of that, he should be disqualified from being able to be on the ballot in these states. Now, the one thing we have to be mindful of is that there are certain requirements for an individual to be president. A person has to be at least 35 years of age. A person has to be at least a natural-born citizen. Those are qualifications. And the states are allowed or authorized to be able to take actions against individuals who may not be qualified to be on the ballot. I'm sure, Ed, you've heard instances where somebody, you know, these third-party candidates come up, you know, Cornel West or, you know, the Green Party, Jill Stein, all those folks, where they're going around and they're trying to make sure that their name appears on all 50 state ballots. You've heard that before, right? So each state will have requirements. You may have signature requirements, things of that nature, to make sure that your name is on the ballot because you have enough individuals that have supported you to say we want this person to be on the ballot. So that being the case, if states can determine who's eligible to be on the ballot, then there have been states that have said, hey, look, well, we should be able to make a determination of whether insurrection has occurred, and if so, that would disqualify Donald Trump for being on the ballot.
Sounds reasonable.
Sounds reasonable to me. I mean, because if you can determine eligibility, why could you not be able to determine ineligibility?
Or disqualification.
Right. All right, so the thing is this, we had the state of Colorado. Colorado goes through and they determine, and they have a trial. They have this trial, and this particular trial, they call witnesses. They introduce the transcript and all the proceedings from the January 6th committee. They have experts to come in and testify, things of that nature. And the judge in the Colorado District Court, and you have to understand, the district court is the first court. That's the one that's in your county that you get to go and you say, hey, Judge Smith, you know, so and so and so. You see him out and about. That particular judge actually ruled against the plaintiffs who were trying to disqualify Donald Trump.
So the judge said, nah, don't worry about it. Trump's on the ballot.
They said Trump's on the ballot. And the reason she said that there was an insurrection that had occurred. She said that, hey, look, you know, he did wrong, but there's a legal issue of whether his office, the office of the president, is actually listed or comes within the purview of the 14th Amendment. Now, honestly, I thought that was the craziest response ever, you know, because, you know, you have the office of the president. I mean, every time somebody speaks, every time Joe Biden speaks, every time Obama speaks, every time Trump spoke, right there on the podium, it'll be a big medallion on the front of it that says the office of the president. So how could the president not be an officer of the United States? So the case went from the district court to the Colorado Supreme Court. And the Colorado Supreme Court listened to the case, and they made a determination that no, he's an officer. We agree that he was involved in insurrection, and as a result of that, he is disqualified from the ballot.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
I remember when that happened, I talked to one of my boys who lives down in Florida, and I sent him that. I was like, man, they disqualified him down in Florida. And his response was like, well, I mean, what's this mean? I mean, I should be geeked up about this. I should be happy about this. And I told him, I said, well, hey, look, if he's disqualified from being on the ballot, he can't get the electoral votes.
Correct.
And if he can't get the electoral votes,
He can't win.
he can't win. So if we get enough states to get him off the ballot, he won't be able to get enough electoral votes to win. So I'm like, this is a big deal. We got to go at it. You know, we got to follow it. So, of course, Trump, he appealed that to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court took it up, man, and dude, I'm going to be honest. I listened to the arguments, man, and the Supreme Court has not made a decision, but I am not hopeful at all. Not hopeful at all. They just, Ketanji Brown, the sister, the issue that I thought that was just so crazy about whether he was an officer, Ketanji Brown latched onto that like that was a determinative factor.
What did Ketanji Brown say?
She was like, are you all, and she's talking to the attorney for Trump, are you all forgoing the argument as it relates to whether he's an officer or not? It seems like you're falling back on, argument 2. And they were like, well, no, Judge, we're still, contesting that. Well, I really think, I don't understand, why you don't rely on that more. Because it appears to me that that's a valid, I mean, the whole tenor of her argument was, hey, look, I think that's a good argument. I was really disheartened when I heard that. Because to me, it just seemed like, and I'm just an old attorney from Howard University.
Howard University.
I only been practicing since 1986 and, won a whole lot of cases. But to me, it sounded like it was a crazy argument. But to her, she seemed like, she went with it. And then we had other so-called liberal judges, like Elena Kagan. She was taking issue with the issue of how can one state determine who's going to be on the ballot and in essence determine who's going to win a national election.
Now, see, they probably saying that if we do it this year, the next 4 years, someone's going to do it to someone else.
Well, that argument did come up, but the thing is this. You have to look at it from objective criteria. And when I say objective, if somebody just said, just like right now, people are talking about let's impeach Biden, right? Well, the standard to impeach somebody is high crimes and misdemeanors. All right, so what high crime and misdemeanor has Biden committed? None that I can see. So if they wanted to impeach Biden, it has to be an objective standard. Now, of course, if they've got the votes and they go on and say we can impeach him like they just did with Mayorkas, who is the Homeland Security Secretary. You remember they voted on that a week ago.
Right.
And they failed. And then they flew in some dude that was getting cancer treatment out of Louisiana, and they brought it back up, and then they impeached him by one vote. It's a bogus deal. But the thing is this, it still has to go before the Senate, and the Senate has to make a determination by 2/3 to actually convict someone. And so, it's not going to go anywhere. So we have to have objective standards. So the whole thing about the other side can do it too, I didn't think was valid, because when in the last 150 years have we had somebody that's tried to overturn an election by, all of these methods. And people talk about he tried to overturn the election on January the 6th, but it was before January 6th. He started planting the seeds to try to overturn this election prior to the election itself.
Right, that's just what we saw on January 6th.
That's what we saw on January 6th. He was bringing people in from different states, trying to tell folks, hey, look, you all need to go back and, as the legislature, pull this election results back and say that they're invalid. He's calling down to Georgia, telling them, find me 11,786 votes, I think it is. Because y'all know it was fraud going down there. He came up with this whole scheme with respect to the alternate electors. People who were supposed to be the electors from a state that he had lost, trying to say that there had been fraud, that they were actually the electors. He was sitting there considering trying to impose martial law to then go and to confiscate voting machines. I mean, this guy's whole plan, it was more than just what happened when we saw those people storming the Bastille on January 6th. It was, folks, it was a whole plan that he did. And that's what was presented to the Colorado District Court. That's what was reintroduced with respect to the Colorado Supreme Court. And I just think that the Supreme Court is going to get it wrong. Now, we had those individuals that were the Republicans, the Clarence Thomases, the Gorsicks, that little, Kavanaugh, that little bunch.
The ilk,
right? Even though I do think that Amy Coney Barrett, I don't think she was just totally with them with some of her questions that she posed to both of them. And so, she kind of gives me some hope, not on this issue, not on this case, but maybe on some other cases. But the thing is that, they were coming up with this whole argument of, how is one state going to determine the national election? How can one state come up with the mechanism in which to make this determination? Saying that they thought that Congress should promulgate. Promulgate means to issue, to enact. I'm just checking, making sure.
I'm just looking at them at home.
Most folks don't know what promulgate.
I didn't know till you said it. Say that again.
Promulgate.
Now, what does it mean?
To issue, to enact. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So they're saying that Congress needs to pass some laws that will outline what the procedure is. So I'm not optimistic at all as it relates to
that going through.
The disqualification. Congress ain't going to do anything, right? Because you got the Republicans that hold the House. So you can't even get the border, locked down, let alone trying to pass something that's going to be used against their boy.
They can't even vote on whether or not they like ice cream.
Hey, man, they can't even pass rules in which to then vote on stuff.
Yep.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So that happened, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? So as it relates, if anybody's out there with hope about the Supreme Court case to disqualify him as it relates to the ballots,
don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry about it. But you know what, though, Ed?
What's that?
The one thing is this, though. You remember Marlowe from The Wire?
Yeah.
You remember when he had Prop Joe that time?
Yeah.
And he was about to take Prop Joe out?
Yeah.
And Prop Joe said, hey, man, I can just disappear. And Marlowe looked at him and said, nah, Joe, we know if I let you go, you just going to be causing mischief later. Remember when he said that?
Yeah, I remember that.
The Congress was Marlowe on the second impeachment. And all they had to do was convict him in the Senate. But they let him go.
And guess what?
He causing mischief still to this day.
Yep.
You follow me?
They let him off the hook.
Let him off the hook because they were scared of it.
They would let him off the hook.
Let him off the hook. And they should have known he was going to cause mischief.
Yep.
Yeah. So the moral of that story, if we'd had real players in there, they would have went on and took him out.
Yeah. Don't let him off the hook.
Don't let him off the hook. But the thing is this. We talked about disqualification, right? And there are other cases that are dealing with disqualification. And you know what? I'm going to be honest, man. I really, as a rule, I do not get into other folks' cases, right? When I go to the barbershop sometime, it'll be some big case going on, and somebody will be like, man, Todd, what you think about so-and-so case? I'm like, man, ain't nobody paid me to think about that case. I'm thinking about the cases they paid me to think about.
That sounds pretty good, man.
You know? But these cases are so important that even I'm thinking about them and following them. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, like which ones?
The case out of Georgia.
Wait a minute, ain't that with the sister?
The sister, Fannie Willis.
Fannie Willis.
Fannie Willis. You know what? One thing I like about Fannie Willis,
What's that?
she's a strong sister.
I saw the way she was leaning when she was up on the witness stand.
Oh yeah.
She had lean like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, what?
Yeah. She let him have it. But
Would you advise your clients to lean like that?
well, if she was the DA, probably so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the only way she'd get away with. She was a DA.
Well, but the thing is this.
I mean, it's just as a regular person, be like, you gotta stand up, sit up, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it just depends on what type of moral authority that you have.
She got moral authority.
I think so. She the DA.
She the DA, but they were talking about she didn't have no morals and stuff. They were trying to throw the case out and everything.
Well,
man.
the thing is, they and the whole thing about that. Now, one thing I want to say about Fannie that I really like about Fannie is a Howard Law graduate.
Howard Law.
No, I said Howard Law. She's a Howard undergrad graduate.
Howard undergrad.
Howard undergrad. So she's been touched by the Mecca. So I like that. Well, why you looking puzzled, bro?
Now you no equal time for SMU?
SMU. Did SMU have anybody involved in these cases?
Okay. I'll be quiet, man. Go ahead.
Did
SMU? But be like on Friday. I'll be quiet, but I'll be,
Did SMU have anybody
I'm
involved
on
in the
like they did on Friday. I'll be quiet, but
okay, all right. I don't even believe why you brought SMU up,
because you brought up Howard, just because you graduated from Howard and everything.
Well, yeah, but
you didn't hit me already with the Carter thing, and now you hit me with the SMU thing.
But wait a minute. I didn't say anything about me graduating from Howard. I said,
what schools you graduate from, Todd?
Law school, Howard University.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just said it.
But I was talking about Fannie though.
And she's a bad person.
Bad. So the whole thing about this, man, this Fannie thing was just. I mean, it was exciting to watch.
Yeah, I checked out some of it, man.
You watched that?
I watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it, man.
Right.
I was out making speeches and all that kind of thing.
Right.
But that's how I was, saying that she had a little lean going, and she was like, she gave it back to him. Man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is this. So just so we can kind of be clear, because I like to kind of make sure.
Because that's what she told him. She said, "Let's be clear on this."
She did.
She said, She said, "Hey, I'm not the one on trial."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is this. So there are 18 individuals that are charged down in Georgia.
18 of them.
18. Donald Trump being one, Rudy Giuliani, some of his attorneys, things of that nature, Cheeseborough, all of those folks.
People of that ilk. Yeah.
Now, 4 people of the 18 have already pled guilty to offenses with respect to this indictment. Now, they did reduce some of the cases to misdemeanors, let the people plead, but the people have pled to the conduct that is outlined in the indictment. So what happens is that one of the remaining 14 individuals has determined that he had an issue that he thought that would lead to disqualification, we got that word again, of the prosecutor on this case, which is Fannie Willis. And what he said through his attorney was that she was involved in some affair with the individual that she had hired to prosecute Trump, and that he was spending all of this money on her from the money he was making off the case. You follow me?
Yeah.
So basically, it's kind of like, hey, man, somebody's saying, hey, man, you come on in, I'm going to get you this contract, and then you kick me back 100 G's.
That's like in the hood, they say the hookup.
Yeah, like the hookup or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to talk to the folks at home and make sure they understand.
Right. So
some still don't understand.
Right.
Hookup.
Yeah. So they're trying to hook, like it was the hookup. And so they're saying that based upon that she should be disqualified from the case. All right. Now, there are a couple of things that I had as an attorney that I had a problem with initially. All right. Well, the first thing I was hoping it wasn't true that she was hooking up, that she was having some type of relations with the guy. But she didn't come out and say no from the jump. So I was like, well, it might be that part might be true. But then I started thinking, okay, yeah, that might look bad, but the issue is really, is she profiting from the relationship? Because of course, I mean, if we fired or got rid of everybody that had some type of arrangement or some type of relationship with somebody they work with, man, we might lose 30% of the workforce. I know judges and prosecutors who have dated and married. You know, I know prosecutors who have dated and married. Defense attorneys and judges who have dated and married. So that in and of itself, to me, was not anything to say that that's dispositive of the case. But of course, those individuals that were pursuing this disqualification, to them, that was just it. The fact that there was some relationship. But that's not. So the second thing then is to look at, is she profiting from the relationship? Is she getting hooked up? And the way that they said that she was profiting from it is that they said that she was taking extravagant trips.
Yeah, like to Belize and places like that.
Yeah, Belize. And, I mean, you can go to Belize, man, for about $1,500, right? You ever been to Belize?
No.
No, I haven't either. But
No.
yeah.
$1,500.
Yeah, well, that's what they testified to. Yeah, yeah. But it don't seem like it takes. I'm gonna put it this way.
That's a little bit more than Disneyland.
Well, I don't know. Disneyland pretty expensive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Disneyland pretty expensive. But I've had so many friends of mine that went to Belize. Surely it can't cost that much.
Okay.
So they were saying all these, that it was going to be extravagant type of travel that she was receiving. Now, my thing was this from the jump. Just because you travel with somebody, are you receiving some type of, is that like you receiving money or anything? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I ain't been in Belize, so I don't know.
Right. Well, let's say if you and some young lady, y'all traveled to Disneyland and you paid for the trip. I mean, do you think that like she's pocketing some money?
Man, why you bringing me in this like that?
Well, it's a hypothetical. Hypothetical. Y'all covered that, right?
And what, at Carter?
SMU, man.
Yeah, we covered it at SMU. Hypothetical.
Right. So, I mean, hypothetically, do you think that that's like somebody receiving some major benefit?
Man, but what did she say to get out of that? Because I know that was a strong argument.
Well, honestly, I didn't really think it was as strong. Now, to me, this is what would have been a strong argument. Okay. They've gone to Monaco, right? The French Riviera, something like that.
Wait a minute, they went there?
No, I'm saying this is what I would consider to be a strong argument.
Not Belize.
Not Belize for 3-4 days. No, not to me. But if they had gone to Monaco and had laid up for 30 days in Monaco, then that's something different.
But they said she went to like 5-6 different places, man.
Yeah, man. Belize, went to Aruba, a couple of places in the United States.
That don't sound good.
What you mean it don't sound good?
It don't sound good. I'm still with her though, man. To be honest, I don't care if she went to Monaco. I'm still with her.
Okay, but the thing is this: why do you say it doesn't sound good?
I'm just saying it don't sound good.
Okay, all right. Well, let's put some more facts to it.
Okay.
All right. So.
And remember, they can call in. Victor, you over there?
Right.
Okay, so, what's the telephone number to call in?
214-556-6239.
Okay. And since this is a good time, let's take us a break right now since we're at the half time of this.
All right.
Yeah, halftime.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Be right back. Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the Commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
My name is Gail Todd with Townview Realtors. If you find yourself in the market to buy, sell, lease, or maybe you want to be a part of this hot real estate market by investing, just give my team of professionals and I a call at 214-675-9572. Again, that's 214-675-9572. Or you can email me at gtodd88@yahoo.com. With me, it's all about you.
You're about to experience the Tamil effect. Party people to the dance floor now. Stir it up. Stir it up. Stir it up.
All right. All right. Zamil will be appearing this weekend. That's the reason why we played that. But we don't want to get outplayed in Atlanta, GA. What else happened down there, man?
Well, you know what? I'm still sitting there, during the break. I'm mystified with your whole deal about it. It don't look good.
Oh, I was just mystified too, man, because I was like checking it out, man. I'm going like, they were like, for one thing, I think what it boils down to is that some people, and this is what it is, some white lawyers and the Trumpers don't particularly like this sister from the very beginning because she attacked their guy, brought that guy in the trial.
Right.
And therefore, anything else that they want to use to bring her down, they will. And some of the things that they used to bring her down was this, the numerous trips. I said, that don't sound good, but that don't necessarily disqualifies her from doing that because as she stated before, she's not the one. It's sort of like when someone goes to someone kills someone that's a policeman kills somebody that's unarmed, and then the unarmed person goes on trial. That's what it appears here. And it doesn't look good when the unarmed person may have had a couple of spots in their lives where
Right.
things didn't come out right. And that's what they're doing. It just doesn't sound good, but it doesn't disqualify.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it disqualifies either. Because like I said, now, to me, something that would have looked really bad, like I said, if she had been in Monaco for 30 days.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it just doesn't sound good because when they start arguing the case. And then I also didn't understand why they brought her father into it.
Well, let me give one more example.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have looked good if she was in Aruba for 3 days, right?
Right.
And they went down to the resort jewelry store and bought a rock or, a necklace for $30,000. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then you could say, hey, but somebody just going on a trip to me just didn't seem like that big of a deal, right? But that was just me. That's just me. But the thing, what she said, to go back to your question before the break, how she get out of that, she said basically, I paid for half of the trips that we took. And she said that I paid for the trips. I just gave him cash as it relates to the trips that we took. So if the trip would cost about $5,000, she said I gave him my share, which was about $2,500. And of course, all of the defense attorneys were just up in arms. Oh, so you just got money like that sitting around.
That's what I'm saying. So when black people have money sitting around,
right?
Okay, I have some money in my pocket. I got $500 in my pocket. Well, how'd you get $500 in your pocket?
Right. And the thing is, the one thing that I really dug about Fannie Willis is that she was, on one hand, she would be very professional. Now, when she first got up there, she was hot.
She was, and that's what I saw
hot.
on some of the YouTube clips I was looking at. I was saying,
Yeah.
wow, she got a lean and everything. And
She was hot when she first got up
why did she
there.
get up there and do it like that, man?
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, you know why? Because she wanted to vindicate herself. Because let me tell you what happened. If you didn't watch it, the defense attorneys that are trying to disqualify her, they called Fannie Willis to the stand. At that point, her office stood up and objected. And they were like, they haven't laid the foundation in which to require her to testify. This, that, and the other, judge. We're objecting to them calling her. And they were making these arguments.
Because the rules had not been set for her to come up there, right?
Right. Well, they're saying that an evidentiary foundation had not been laid to allow that would require her to testify. And you know what? Listening to it, the judge may have went with that, right? But guess what? In the middle of all that, Fannie Will was like, nah. Guess what? She was like, nah, I'm testifying. And then the mic heard her. She's standing there by the table, looking at the box. And you know what she said? I'm ready to go. She was fired up, man. She wanted to get up and vindicate herself. And so she did. She took the stand. And she was combative at some points. And when I say combative, not unnecessarily combative, but combative to the point that she was not going to let a false narrative be read or outlined as it relates to her.
And I understand that, and I occasionally watch Fox News, and then after I watch Fox News, I wash my eyes out with soap because I saw something I shouldn't have seen.
Right, right. Well, you know what?
But this is where I'm going at with this. That's what they focused on that.
Right.
To gin up their base on that.
Now I gotta give the defense one other thing.
Yeah.
They did have a witness who was Fannie's old friend.
Yeah, I heard and I saw. Yeah.
And she came up and she said that Fannie and Wade had been in a relationship since 2019.
And they were arguing about whether or not define relationship close and romantic and all that.
And no, she said that she had seen them hugging and kissing, right, in 2019. Now, Wade had done an affidavit where he said, we didn't really start kicking it till 2022. That's what she got on the stand and testified to. So the question would then be, if it actually started in 19 and they're saying 2022, then maybe they lying and the judge could take that into account as it relates to everything that they're saying. Now, to combat what her friend said, we found out that she's no longer her friend, that they fell out, that she, the friend, worked at the DA's office, and that she resigned under pressure of being fired for something that had gone wrong. That since that firing, or forced resignation.
Right, she resigned.
Yeah. Since that forced resignation, they were no longer friends, had never spoke. And you could tell there was clear animosity as it relates to, or hard feelings, as it relates to the forced resignation that had occurred. So all of that then puts what she says into another context. You have to look at it in a different angle. Also, when a few questions were asked to her as it relates to where'd you see him, things of that nature, then she got into the whole I don't remember thing. And so
it's like you saw them kissing, but you don't remember.
You don't remember. Right.
You saw the Super Bowl, but you don't remember that Usher did the halftime.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so what that does, from a legal aspect, it kind of calls into question. You have a interest and bias to lie because you mad at this person, right? And when you can't recall details or specifics, then it feeds into the fact that maybe you are just saying this because you're mad at this person rather than it actually happening. So that was an issue there. So, Fannie got up there. She basically said, hey, I gave him the money. She kind of threw the brother under the bus a couple of times, man. I would have hated to have been the brother. The brother got up there. He testified.
What did he say?
Well, he testified, consistent, that we didn't start kicking it till later.
Okay.
He said that they didn't start dating in 2021 because he was battling cancer. Now, when Fannie was there, they started asking her, like, when did they become intimate and all that kind of stuff.
They asked all that.
All that kind of stuff. So Fannie, looking, she threw the brother under the bus, man. She said,
you ain't getting ready to gossip or nothing like that.
No, this is what she testified.
What she say, man?
She said,
Because now I say, you ain't beginning to gossip, and then I say, what she say, man. Go
Well,
ahead.
this was testimony.
It's testimony.
Testimony.
Oh, you're gonna hang your hat on a lawyer
yeah,
deal now. It's
So-
testimony.
So she said, well, what you're asking me is preposterous. Because
Preposterous.
he was dealing with cancer, and I'm not, at that time, and I'm not going to emasculate a black man. So when I heard that, I was like, man,
Man, I gotta go on that note.
I was like, well, maybe he had some type of cancer that kind of
Emasculate him.
Yeah,
Okay.
that kind of emasculated the brother. And
Yeah, she threw him underneath the bus.
yeah, she threw him underneath the bus. On
Which
that.
one, Greyhound or Trailways or both?
Both of them.
Yeah,
Both of them.
that was
Both of 'em.
bad.
Matter of fact, the Greyhound hit him, then the
And
Trailways,
the Trailways
hit
come
him,
back.
and they had to go to the garage and fire the old Trailways
Yeah,
up.
'cause they ain't got none of
They
them.
ain't got none of them no more. And so then she threw him under the bus one other time too, man, because they were like, well, why would you give him money? And and her response was I'm gonna be honest, right? She said that his views of women were a little old-fashioned. That he had told her at one time that the only thing a woman could really do for her was fix him a sandwich, according to her. And so she thought, and she said they had vigorous arguments about the role, that she was his equal, not some subservient woman. And that it was like a matter of pride, or to prove that she was his equal, that she covered half of the trip. Like, I don't need you to cover something for me. And so I thought that was a pretty effective answer. Threw the brother under the bus, made him kind of sound like a Nathaniel. Say that word for me, man.
Now I'm gonna let you just mess up right there on your
like
own.
a caveman. Made him sound like a caveman, but the thing is that I thought it was pretty effective. And so the hearing, they still have some preliminary things that they have to do, but I do not believe
She's gonna be disqualified.
that she's going to be disqualified.
That's good.
Now, of course, the Republicans are just going to go crazy about that.
All right, we'll let them do
because
that.
if you looked at Fox News and all that
I did.
that night, oh man, they were like, oh, blockbuster stuff. Oh, Fanny, there's no way.
That's the way they did it.
Oh man,
Blockbuster.
Yeah, I was like, man, what? It was kind of
It's
like
all over with her.
it was kind of like the OJ trial, man. When OJ, I would look at the case and I was like, man, OJ had a great day, and then I'd look at Nancy Grace, and she was like, oh, great day for the prosecution. I was like, man, what trial is she watching? But that's why people had misconceptions about OJ. But I'm not trying to get into OJ because that could rip a scab off.
Oh,
somebody.
don't worry about that. I still remember when Johnny told me. I asked him. I said, Johnny, come on, man. He just held his hand up and said, if it doesn't fit,
You
you
must
must
have
have
quit.
quit. That's all he said. He did just like you did.
Right.
About, he said, hey, I'm hanging my hat on that. That's
Right,
all.
right.
I'm not going to talk to you, Ed, about all that. Hey, that's what it is, man.
All right.
But, it's always some money involved in politics. And
And you know what? A whole lot of money has been involved because we've got a third case that was decided just yesterday. Also had a component of disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that?
that was regarding that pathological guy up in
the
because the
pathological
judge said it was pathological,
Yeah,
bordering,
He's-
bordering on
Yeah,
pathological.
he said bordering on pathological. Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what? We had another common denominator here. We had a black sister that was leading the case in New York. She's the Attorney General of New York. Her name is Lita James. And y'all know where I'm going with this. Lita James also is a Howard Law graduate. Now, Fannie Willis is a Howard undergraduate graduate, but Lita James is actually a Howard Law School graduate. She was actually there 2 years. She graduated 2 years after I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So black women, a lot of times brothers, they get caught up in, everybody getting ahead of us, this, that, and the other. Number one thing is, brothers, we got to get in gear.
Step our game.
Got to step up our game. Number two is, you can say black women are trying to save this country. They are trying to save this country. That's important. They are trying to do it. So
Now,
we need to be behind the sisters.
Where's
Work
your-
with the sisters.
Where's your evidentiary proof of that?
Well, we got Fannie Willis trying to take down, trying to make sure that the Orange Cheeto is held responsible in Georgia, and we have Lita James prosecuting this case successfully yesterday, where the judge made a finding that Trump owes at least $352 million for fraudulent activities in his real estate game.
$352 million.
Million. And when they add in the prejudgment interest, right? You know, the interest that they would have gotten before, not post-judgment, but prejudgment, that's $450 million.
$450 million for lying on a credit application?
Well, it was more than just lying on a credit
I
application.
just want to say it where folks at home, Nico,
Well, yeah,
because
but
that's
yeah.
what they do. You say you made $55,000 when you know you only made $35,000.
Well, yeah,
and
that's
you got the loan anyway.
Right, yeah, that's true.
And now they calling the loan and you can't pay it back, and someone now decides to call you out because you got the loan under
Right.
fraudulent pretenses.
Yeah, but guess what? In Trump's case,
That's what he did, didn't he?
no, he did that. He did the lying, right?
Uh-huh.
But he never defaulted on the loan. You know, that was his argument. Well, you know,
Everybody does it.
Yeah, everybody did it. So basically what he was doing was this. When he would try to get the loan, he would say, I got property that's worth $1 billion. I'm giving an example, right?
Right, like his Mar-a-Lago place where
Right. The thing is, the place there in Trump Tower,
Yeah.
he said that it was 3 times bigger than what it was.
Right,
So it had a higher value.
right. It has
So-
like 30-something floors when it has like 27.
Right,
yeah.
right. And so what happened is that when he would go to try to borrow money, he would say, well, okay, y'all can give me better terms on these loans because you don't have as much risk because I have all of this property that's worth all this money. So they would give him better terms. But then when it was time for like appraisals of the property for tax purposes and things of that nature, then he would deflate how much the property was worth. It was worth $1 billion when you were trying to get the money, but now it's only worth $500 million when it's time to pay the taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was basically a shell game that was going back and forth for over a year. I mean, over 10 years. And so they had the Attorney General's office, and man, I got to tell you, man, I mean, Trump is something about women contesting or confronting him that just drives him bonkers. You know, it goes all the way back from Megyn Kelly to, you know, the lady who was, you know, with Fox News that called him out. He said she had blood coming from every orifice that she had. You know, he calls Nikki Haley bird brain. He says that Fannie Willis and Lita James are racist, and and if you just look at it, he just can't deal with strong women. He just can't. And so he's just hot and bothered and stuff about that stuff, and he's going on and on about how this is a witch hunt, things of that nature. But the judge ruled against him.
And this is the same judge he was coming after during the trial?
Yet the same judge coming after him and his legal assistant. They were swatting these people. All his little followers are calling the people, you know, trying to say that things are happening at their house, and police force shows up at the house. People threatening them, things of that
And this
nature.
is what he was doing to the judge.
Yeah, doing to the judge, talking bad to the judge. And the judge held those things against him.
Yeah.
Because he said, you know what? It's not like he was robbing nobody, right? He was like, yeah, you know, he was pencil whipping you, right? But he never even apologized for pencil whipping. He kept saying what I was doing was what it was supposed to be done, when it clearly was not. And one thing that people don't really latch on to, because of course everybody's like, oh, it's going up on appeal, they gonna throw that out, you know, this, that, and the other. Even before the trial started, the judge had made a determination on what we call summary judgment. They had submitted documentation that said that there was no issue of material fact and that we are entitled to judgment as a matter of law. But they only did summary judgment on one of the causes of action, right? And there were 7 causes of action. So the judge found on summary judgment that they had done fraudulent activities. But then there were other actions there were other acts in the other 6 counts or causes of action that they would have to establish that he had committed fraud in the manners that they had said, by issuing false statements, by issuing or submitting false, when I say statements, I'm talking about, let's say, a statement like a financial statement, or issuing, filling out false credit applications. And so they had to tie each one of those additional counts to an actual activity. The judge, so all of those counts was still in dispute. Only one had been determined before this trial had started as summary judgment. In the judge's judgment that was entered yesterday, he entered judgments on the other 6 counts also. Now you say, why is that important? That's important because the appeals court has to look at what the judge did and what he awarded as it relates to each individual count. So they might say, okay, well, the evidence wasn't there for count 1 or count 2, but it was there for count 3. So what happens is that he gives the appeals court more of an opportunity to affirm what the judge has done. And the judge was very meticulous as it relates to his evaluation of the witnesses. In his judgment, which was about 92 pages. 92 pages.
92 pages.
Yeah. Each major witness that came forward, he made and gave a little summary as it relates to what that person testified to, what he thought of that person, judging the credibility of that person.
And that's when he came up that Trump was pathological. No remorse.
No remorse at all. So these cases, man, and you know what? We haven't even gotten to the other case out of New York, where Trump tried to get it continued. It's a criminal case. The first criminal case is going to come up. The whole Michael Cohen, Cohen case, when he paid off Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet before the election, that's set and coming to trial March 29th. Is going to trial.
All right.
So, dude, it has been an avalanche of criminal cases, and since this is, cases, period, and since this is legal standpoint, I wanted to make sure that we went over them and everybody could have an opportunity to understand what has been going on as it relates to these cases with national import.
Well, thank you for coming in.
All right.
And hey, one last word before we bail out, because they're saying it's time for us to go. Where does Trump stand?
Where does Trump stand?
Yeah, where does Trump stand with all this?
He stands. He's in bad shape.
All right.
Because you know what? He's got 400-something million that's on stake now. We didn't even talk about the 83 million that he's been held liable for defaming the lady that he raped. And then on top of it, he's got criminal cases that are coming up. We got another case before the Supreme Court. If that gets denied, then that case will probably go to trial before the election also. I don't understand why people are standing behind this man when he has all this. And, they want to make it sound like it's political persecution. He has brought on all of this.
Rape is a political persecution?
Yeah, rape is a political persecution.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing.
We'll let that stay with you guys at home, and we will see you back next month. All right?
All right. Have a good time.
All right.
Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Bond. I'm the founder of the Irving branch of the NAACP, also known as the John Wally Price of Irving, Texas. And I'm here to welcome you to tune in to the Commish Show, hosted by the infamous Mr. Ed Gray. Hey,